Welcome back to the Spring Promotion Tournament. We're getting ready for Game 3 of Team Coast versus NME Esports. And here, NME Esports is, backs against the wall. Need to win the next 3 in a row to keep their NALCS.
That never happens.
Yeah, well, first of all, that never happens. Sorry. But they need to do that in order to keep their LCS spot here. So, Kiwi, how do they start in Game 3 to turn things around?
I think they either need to completely trust Flares to play well, or they completely trust him to play badly, because I feel like they're kind of hedging. Trashy is kind of moving around, but he's not really sure where he wants to camp up or, just kind of pressure a lane. And sure, maybe he should just completely ditch Flares, and maybe that would have been a great alternative the Game 2. But if he saw that Flares maybe was pushed in a little and was gankable, he should have maybe paid attention to that lane.
Yeah. It's tricky because in Game 1, Flares actually had an early lane advantage. And in Game 2, he came back decently in the teamfight phase. So there's a chance that NME isn't identifying this as one of the main reasons they're losing. But I do think they should lane swap, mainly because the first pick priority, you want to neutralize whatever type of advantage Chris can have as much as possible, and just try for a different game, because standard lanes haven't worked twice in a row.
All right, well, there you have it. Simple enough. I mean, you have to imagine that with their LCS lives on the line, they're going to pull out all the stops here in Game 3. Maybe we will see that Riven come out. Now let's head over to the caster desk to get back into the action.
Thank you very much, Dash. We are here getting ready to get back into the action indeed. Game 3 coming up, and it's going to be a tough road ahead for NME now.
Yes, it is. Reverse sweeps have been very common in North America, though.
That's true. Hoping to live up to the Cloud9 standards and just get a whole lot better in Game 3 and keep that up.
They have had individual good performances within the game, individual plays that they've been able to pull out. So they have been able to stay competitive, at least on that level.
Yeah, Inox has been highest damage to champions in the game, both games so far. If the damage to champions graph was a pie chart for what you do if you won $1 million, everyone else in the game is donated to charity, and he's the keep it slice.
All right, well, similar bans here once again from Coast. This time we're going to take out the Tristana. You don't want that one to go back around. I feel like that's a round 2 blocking, because they don't feel like they want to first pick it and would rather not fight against.
Oh, but
Rek'Sai!
The list is left open, as is the Rek'Sai,
as well.
So Coast get the champion whose ban they dropped. So they still got to steal away all those things that were scary. And now enemies say, okay, can we take away the Olaf? Can we take away the Rek'Sai? Like, there are 2 champions that you're really afraid of right now. And
they're more afraid of the Evelynn than the Rek'Sai. That makes me think that they probably are not planning on going into lane swapping.
Interesting.
Even though it would be a way to shake things up. All right,
the thing is, I know Peekaboo can take away Victor next round here, and it was really good for Inox in Game 2.
Yeah, plus, I mean, with Rek'Sai up, the Elise, the point of early picking that Elise kind of drops off a little bit, because there's better alternatives, and you're not really getting the bonus of stealing it away from Shrimp. Once again here, though, Shen for Flares. We'll see if they can make use of some cross-map plays this time around.
It's strange seeing what NME picked for here. I think they identified that they don't need to steal Braum away because Thresh is just fine for Conquan. And they grabbed Shen knowing full well that Olaf was coming through, so no priorities really grabbed here for NME, aside from, I guess, the Elise. And even then, we got to see how it's going to do. Certainly Shrimp on it last game.
This was a really good game for Trashy, the start that he had on Elise in game number 1.
True.
So maybe he will be able to pull off. Again, this is the Shen plus the Elise combo. Elise gets the pressure on bottom early, and you start burning summoner spells. Maybe you get some early action. In the best case scenario, you get a kill like you did in game 1. But then you just continue to bombard bottom lane with pressure. Have your Shen teleport down there and try and keep MASH out of it.
All right, enemy do change up the style. Vayne comes through for Otter. The champion can run down a Kalista, but it's into a hard lane. Thresh Kalista.
Wow, yeah. With Alistar at her back as well. That doesn't help very much for the early laning phase of Vayne. Maybe they will try and seek out those lane swaps. It also would help because then they could get roaming Alistar early as well. Try and force Coast to make more difficult decisions early in the game.
Coast once again without a true tank here. Olaf in the top lane, Thresh in the support role. So we once again might have the difficult team fight scenario. Azir also off the table. Pigmo's got to play something new in this one. He may still find himself plenty of wave clear. There is the Rek'Sai hover. I expect that to get locked in after all. And the Victor does get taken away. NME happy to give away these champions that they played so well earlier on. In Game 2, they gave away the Elise they could have picked away. In Game 3, they gave away the Victor they played so well.
NME are really prioritizing mid-lane counter picks in a lane where counter picking has fallen off a lot.
Yeah.
The priority of counter picking has risen in top lane and dropped off in mid lane just because the champions that rose to the top in mid lane have been very good all around and don't have that many stark weaknesses that you can really punish heavily as far as counter matchups. So the counter picking mid, we'll see if what Inox can pull off, but the first 2 games felt like he would have been able to get those champions and those matchups even, whether he had been counter pick or whether he had picked it earlier in the draft phase.
Yep.
First picker though, things you want to go with, either assassins or poke. So he opts to go with the poke.
It's so weird. I'm not sure what this is going to be doing for the team, though. He's got no real poke synergy on the roster, and it's actually very physical damage heavy as well. It's going to be Sunfire Capes and Cinderhulks for the magic damage profile.
I mean,
here.
at least it will give them some form of wave clear because they have absolutely none beside Varus.
Yep.
And he will get to a point where he can at least hold one lane for them. And then maybe, buy some time for that Shen split push. But really, NME, it is actually going to be hard for them to disengage if they try and go 4-1. It would be up to Alistar to try and hold that front line and headbutt someone away.
Well, definitely some difficulties here. We'll see how the lane matches pan out, though, with the 2 aggressive early game junglers are here.
Yeah, and, they do have the Vayne for Otter. That was one of their best LCS setups when they had Otter on Vayne, and he was able to have a really good game and sort of take over. So maybe they do, if they can channel some of that bot lane focus with the Elise starting out early and then Shen teleports coming in, try and get Otter ahead so that the Vayne can control the game.
We'll see if he can do that. The laning phase has been okay for the bot lane of NME Esports. We'll see what happens here in Game 3. And so while the teams load into the game, head over to Twitter and send hashtag CST win or hashtag NME win. Let us know who's going to take it. Of course, Coast already up 2-0. They've got 3 chances to get that one final game in. NME need the reverse sweep, and they need it now. Who's going to be in the LCS in the spring? Let's find out. Game 3 starts.
As they have doubled down on 80 carries as well. Picking Varus into Olaf is not quite as scary as picking Ashe into it, but similar effect there.
Yeah, you at least have a healing reduction, which feels kind of nice. You can't lifesteal tank you, but you don't have that same burst that Victor did. That actually zoned out Chris basically by himself. Strange to see him go off of that.
Defensive opening here for both squads. And standard opening as well. So if they all drop trinkets now, then we will see no interesting early game invades.
First damage dealt.
There's your healing reduction as well.
Inox, 100% of all damage. Never mind.
30 seconds until minions spawn.
All right, yeah, defensive start. We'll see if the lane swap comes through like the analyst desk asked for.
That's what I talked about on the preview for PTL as well.
Oh, yeah, you're right.
But, they do. So both top laners did see each other drop trinket wards, but there's plenty of time. So this is a complete guess. This is all guesswork, by the way, for NME right now.
And it will be, once again, them able to start in the jungle without any support from their duo lane.
I think it's
trashy on the other side of the map.
And because it is complete guesswork, looks like we will have them call, and both teams duos up top. Vayne Alistar, that is hard to pull off. Vayne's pretty good into Kalista, though. I like it. Thresh definitely is going to add some extra pressure.
Spice.
So definitely some extra pressure, though, make it more difficult.
Sure. All right. Smites the Gromp, and then
let's see if they miss any melees then. They shouldn't miss any melees because they got that extra smite damage. So maybe there'll be a couple minions up. Chris took the blue there, I believe.
Yeah, he did. And here we go. Into the lane they go, and no minions have died, so Mash and Co. will get level 2 very quickly here.
1, 2.
And 1 caster minion will be all it takes.
So 2 minions of XP denied from NME.
Ready rough. Flay and Hook's going to be up for Conquan.
Oh, all right. Well, that lane's going to be brutal.
Really, really hard. Body drop will eventually learn to heal, probably at level 2. He's already got pulverized for now.
Yeah, he's got to go right into it. Unless they're planning on calling Trashy over immediately. I mean, Trashy did start on his blue quadrant, so
yeah,
they could call up a gank extremely early, have him go through the river, or at least communicate which trinket ward they think Coast drops, whether they drop it in the river or in the tri-bush.
But time how long would the Fog afford to do it?
Yeah, they would have to. Let's see.
It's in the river. It's got like 45 seconds left.
And he has gone for the combo. So body drop leveled up combo. They may go for that early level 3 Elise gank.
Away.
Yeah, they'd have to go all in on it to turn this one around.
He turns back.
Oh, I should go up the river. Even with that ward, they're extended far enough that you can walk right past that ward. Also, can try and get an engage. But
meanwhile,
no go. Not worth the risk of a counter gank.
But speaking of risk of a counter gank, Shrimp just coming into this side of the map right now. A couple of wards come through, and Flares has warded Tri-Brush. Shrimp will not reveal just yet, but Chris heavily pushing. I don't know if this dive would really work, though. Flares seems to be high enough on health.
Ooh, another axe does land.
Flares has 1 point in all skills. We've got Feint as well as Taunt.
Shrimp waiting around for this, but
I don't think it's going to work. I think he's waiting for a counter gank in case Elise shows, but I don't think that is likely either.
Well, that's very, very unlikely, considering that we can see everybody and we're cheating.
Yeah. All right, they're going to look for it right now. Can they get the damage into Flares? Axe lands. Chris pulled aggro, though, and here goes... Oh, he missed! And Shrimp gets the knockup. Here comes the dive, but Flares flashes away. Now it's Chris on the dive. He pulls aggro once again. Flares gets some damage through, and Chris is out of mana! Gets the kill, but he's going to trade his life for it. Not the worst thing in the world. Flares does get one back.
Yeah, so they were able to get first blood money, and it was an assisted kill, so overall they gained a lot more cash, but Flares actually stuck around long enough. Most of the minion wave died while he was there, so he at least got experience for it. If he hadn't missed that taunt as well, then he might have been able to even get a kill without going down. But in the end, Coast are able to grab first blood there. Enemies strike back.
Trashy shows too late. He's now up from the river, and there's just a ward under him, and the lane's already pushed down. There's nothing to be gained. Elise missed her opportunity to find that gank. Chose to take an extra 3 camps. He counter-jungled the Gromp, I guess, but I think that was definitely a kill in the making, and it did not happen.
Pretty dangerous to go for early tower dives versus Thresh.
Yeah.
But we will not see it happen, so I'm going to say it was a good call.
Well, this gank, yeah, I meant like 2 minutes ago, though, when you were talking about it, and like go right after the red buff.
Oh, yeah,
That's when he missed.
Oh, yeah, up the river, yeah. I was like,
I was agreeing with you, and you're like, no, he made the right choice.
My bad, Freak.
What the hell, Kobe? Flares in a bad spot. Taunts through, gets knocked up part way, but Elise is here this time. And they find a stun on Shrimp, but Shrimp has flash. No kill gonna happen.
Well, no repeat gank. We know Shrimp does like to camp the same lane, and this time Trashy was ready for it.
Yeah,
Flair's gonna call to him. This guy is gonna come back.
But look at this matchup. 16 CS up already.
Frozen on Chris's side of the map as well.
So rough.
The blue buff being fed to Olaf early already is not fair in that matchup. But to get the early jungle pressure as well. You can tell early focus from Coast down there once again, wanted to continue with the same plan. And it is working. They forced Flares into the early armor buy, which is not even ideal versus Olaf.
Yeah.
And now he's forced into jungling. So he's going to be taking up jungle camps, which pushes Trashy into the area where he has to make something happen on the top side of the map, or just sort of lose out on time because there aren't even other jungle camps for him to take. Mid lane's playing very defensively. Inox has hit level 6, so at least he has follow-up CC if they're able to get something, but it's a cleanse Victor, so cleanse flash both up. You know, best case you probably blow both summoners, but
yeah, probably only one. Conquan looks for the gank with Shrimp. He comes into the mid lane. Inox got to be careful. They will not go with a flash hook. If it had landed, he probably would have died, but all is well. Peek and Woke chunked out a little. Varus holding up just fine in the matchup. Inox for the 3rd time in a row doing just fine in lane. But the team falling around behind him.
Trying to bait here. Both teams trying to use pink ward bait.
Flair's roll swaps up to the top side. He's got teleport up, and the duo lane is now on the bottom side. That is Dragon advantage as far as map assignments are concerned.
Once again, though, look at this. Trashy's going with the same route, swings around down bottom. He's also got body drop here, so Chris is going to have to pop his ultimate. He needs to save it as long as possible.
There it is.
And just run straight out.
Big damage comes through. Silver bolts are still on. Chris does have Ghost, but he doesn't need to use it. Otter can get this. Gets the kill. Ghost never used by Chris. Didn't think he needed it. Was wrong.
They are able to get some money early onto Vayne, try and get Otter up to his blade as quickly as possible. On the top side, Flair should be okay. He's got a tri-brush ward. He'll see the gank coming in. He should be able to evacuate before he gets dove, but he's been held to level 4 8 minutes into the game.
That is going to be rough. Body Wrap now tanking Dragon. Will be making this one happen. They got some free time for Otter and putting all their eggs in the Vayne basket. She got out of lane, only down about 5 CS. That was just fine for how bad that matchup could have been.
Yeah.
Especially with how the lane started.
Yeah, with the experience discrepancy, able to pull it back. Not too shabby.
Okay.
Tier also stacking up for Inox in the mid lane. Trying to upgrade as early as possible. Oh! Thank you, sir.
Oh, nice. Inox gets a steal. So now both mid laners have taken camps away from the opposing jungler in their own side of the map. Shrimpster running around. Trashy is actually getting some time to steal away the red buff. Now, aside from this top lane matchup being so under-farmed, enemy looking fairly solid in this game. But it's Trashy getting picked on and Chris very far ahead, and that can be a very big concern.
Yeah, similar story once again. So much focus from Coast. Shrimp constantly ganking for Chris, trying to get him ahead on these aggressive champions in the top lane. At this point, I actually... Oh, pretty good exchange here. But I'd actually be very worried about tower dive coming in. I think body drop is only a couple minutes away from that level 6, so definitely need to keep Thresh nearby.
Probably this wave will give him 6.
All right, well, I think that's going to limit Conquan's roaming ability because a Vayne Alistar is great at tower diving if Kalista gets left alone.
Blue buff safely to Inox. He's going to feel okay about this one, but it's an 1,800 gold lead.
Once again, though, all this focus down bottom lane. Flares is now walking over. They want to try and keep Otter going.
Farm alarm comes off the Rex side.
He walked into it.
Barely gets tagged by the Sentinel, has to run away.
So, Flares is actually going to walk by him while he had vision on him as well. So they even know that Flares is down here. Gave away even more information.
Ouch.
And that just signals to Chris, push as hard as you can, get up to that turret.
He's trying to freeze it, actually. He's trying to deny as much gold as possible instead of creating pressure. Weirdly enough, it's how it's going. The flash pulverize, though. They're going to go for Max. They realize they get the condemn. He's got a lantern. Has to flash away from Alistar. He's now a couple hits away from gone, but it's not going to be enough. Here comes Shrimp, and Chris has already arrived. The big knockup comes through, and Trashy in the middle of nowhere gets wrecked there. And now the flash hook. Nice dodge by Otter, but a big lead continues for Coast.
Oh, it's not done yet either. Full health, double summoners. Victor's coming in to try and catch somebody. Everybody from Coast or from NME does get out, and Flares is going to try and reverse the top lane push here, get some damage on top lane, and try and trade turrets.
Well, we'll get some amount of damage. That turret is literally full health right now, so will take him quite a while.
That was with the engage onto Mash and getting both summoners, condemning him into the wall, and still Coast were able to turn that around.
Now, keep in mind, not all 4-on-4s are created equal. Shen did not have ulti at that time.
He was level 4 still at the beginning. Just now finally gets Stan United.
Yep. Rough stuff. Flair's trying to get himself back in.
They did break the freeze, though, that Chris had, so it came at the cost of a couple lives.
Yeah, and now the gold lead sits at over 3,000. Coast sizably ahead this early on. This is one of the bigger catastrophes actually to have, as enemy don't have any turrets to their name, but Coast have 2. The Varus wave clear doesn't mean much. Shrimp's going to go for the knockup. They've got a Shen coming, but is it nearly enough? Flares is around. They get the taunt. They're going to get mashed. There's finally a kill picked up in the favor of enemy Esports.
All right, they are able to finally use Stand United. They get the kill. Mash Me overcommits, but can they get some pressure on the turret afterwards? It's... No, yeah, Victor arrives back from base, and he's the wave clear.
Their pressure's bot lane instead. Otter was staying down here, clears the wave. It's now in front of the turret. His wards are good enough because Alistar's roaming through, so he can just spot any roams. This will be a turret kill finally, so enemy do get one on the board as Flares walks top lane to absorb the wave that just got pushed in by the Olaf. Inox, though, not the best wave clear right now. Low on mana, not a ton of attack damage, means mid lane's going to get pressured. Trashy can't do much either. Coast now the gold lead down to 2,000 thanks to the turret, the farm, and the kill. But yet again, enemy having a very, very hard early game, and Flares is kind of the brunt of it.
Yeah, they're really struggling. They need to try and use Inox now. He has been able to get his Brutalizer on top of his NME. Try and get some meaningful objectives out of the poke.
And there's outer turret number 3.
This is their last chance. This is a must-win game for them.
It could be a 3-0. A fairly disappointing season. They crushed Challenger last split. They had a really hard LCS run. And here they are about to have it cut short. Coast, though they did have a rough time in the Challenger finals, they probably should have won the matchup. They're making up for lost time here, looking for this game to send them back in. Uh-oh. There's this fine running away. And we're back to that 3,000 gold lead thanks to Coast getting the middle outer turret down.
Split Push Vayne going to try and answer another outer turret here for NME. Try and get some of the global gold back. He's got a lot of work to do, but as we said, Inox can hold that mid lane, spamming out his clear. Bottom lane is going to be a bit more difficult of a situation. Coast already prepping a dive, it looks like. 3 members headed over. Some defensive wards spotted out, though. And they move Inox from mid down to bottom to try and hold. So enemy are able to recoup some of the gold standing on the map. Get an outer turret.
Varus playing wave clear well enough. And a lot of farm going over to this Vayne. 1-0, 115 CS. More gold than MASH. And now Dragon started up. Coast, gonna feel good about this one. Enemy already got the first, so it's not a huge threat right now. But Coast will get the bonus stats. Easy rend. Picked up there. Conk 1.5. The taunt comes in. A lot of damage, but of course he's got a Kalista support, so he's going to be safe. Flares goes down for nothing. Shrimp low on health, though. One hit away. There's the kill. And an engage by body drop. Conquan gets exhausted. There's the piercing arrow. Enemy Esports actually finding something to do. 2 kills picked up for 1. You got to get control of the jungle.
Yeah, they don't have many minions to work with. Pings go down onto mid lane. They're going to try and keep that up. Victor's out of mana, so unless Pekin Wolf buys home guards, I think they should be able to get some decent damage onto this turret.
Looks like it's going to be enough. Enemy do find their 3rd outer turret in the gold. Going to be close again, but Rek'Sai's around on the wing.
Oh, they barely get it.
And they do. Chris is missing Ghost and just can't really push in right now. 600 gold separates these teams. Enemy's hopes are still alive right now. Flares just getting some assist money, trying to catch back up in this game. He is well behind Chris, but
yet again, he's on a tank.
Yeah, and this time he can actually pull aggro and make the turret pushing much harder. On Malphite, he couldn't stop Olaf from knocking it down. On Shen, you actually can. You can hold the split pushing just by virtue of the champion, even when he's behind. The ways in for Coast are weaker, but Inox is much less set up to carry. He's going to try. He's 1-0-2.
He's got the cooldown reduction to be able to spam, but taking away the blue buff here from Coast coming in for that invade is very, very big. You can spam out enough wave clear there only until you run dry.
And you get a 30-second window after clearing the first wave to get some mana and come back for the next one. At Inhibitor, it's easy. At Tier 2, it's a bit harder. And we can see Coast trying to clear the ward control. They don't have very deep wards themselves. Actually, enemy have much better wards right now in the game. They know what's going on with Pekin Wolf and Shrimp right now, but it will not be stopped. Pekin gets to refresh his blue buff. And Shrimp gets to continue to hard farm. You can see this Rek'Sai right now, 5,500 gold. Only 300 above Trashy. So the hyper carry Rek'Sai right now is not happening.
Chris being very patient in the bottom lane as well. He was waiting in that brush, hoping that Flares would push past the river. Flares does not extend too deep into Coast territory. So he will remain safe.
For those of you who don't know Shrimp and haven't watched Challenger this year, Shrimp is known for having the highest gold in the game in his Rek'Sai games, having ridiculous farm, being a split push threat in himself. Black Cleaver second is often common for him.
He's on a ward now, so he's in a tight spot. Gives up 5 gold.
Yeah. But I think Coast can turn into a double split push threat before too long. Shrimp and Chris both able to run around and use their global teleports essentially to get around the map and make plays. Inox can only wave clear in one of these lanes, and in fact he's going to get attacked right now, poked out by 2 long-range Qs of the Split Push brothers. And over time, Shrimp will become a tool for Coast to wedge this game apart.
Well, they've also got plenty of vision between middle and top, so they're going to try and make a play here, catching NME as NME try and move from defending mid up to defending top. Some decent defensive warding efforts here from NME as they clear some of it out.
Not a lot of progress made on either side, honestly. Wards come in, wards come back down. Coast deep wards finally did come in a little bit. Baron spawns in 1 minute. There are about 5 wards on that side of the map circling it.
Yeah, I mean, they do have Callista, but I don't think a Baron this early in the game is really on the table for Coast. It would be a big opportunity for NME to jump right back in this game if they were to take that risk. Dragon stacking a lot safer.
One thing that has happened is the AD carries are a little bit relatively poor this game. Only 140 CS on MASH is going to be a little bit slower of a Hurricane than normal. So there's a chance, looking at his gold right now, he actually almost definitely will not have Hurricane in time for this fight over the 3rd Dragon of the game. Whereas Otter is actually going to feel pretty good with his Zeal and Blade of the Ruined King. Inox has the Armor Pen core nearly done as well. He will not have Whisper, but Brutalizer may be enough for him. Let's see what this turns into. MASH does get some farm for now, but is behind Otter. Shrimp still getting a lot of farm. 82 CS on him. He's starting to really grow. Has now passed Trashy in money by 300 despite the 2 kills.
Yeah, he's going to go with the Cinder Hulk into Black Cleaver build as well. So not only Chris, but Shrimp as well. Everyone will be shredding armor and AoE for Callista.
And even just their own rights. The high damage sticky targets that don't die too terribly easy. Shrimp looks for some poke. And Chris has found a way to push Flares off the wave again. Some pretty big damage done. Flares will fight back, but not fighting back hard enough, down to 1,000 health. And Chris, once he gets the cooldown back, can sustain his health into a good spot. Here comes the attempt for the top lane. Flares recall.
Didn't break through the shield. Tower shield was on him as well.
I don't think it worked that way.
I think if you don't break through any, like as many shields as you stack up on somebody, you have to actually do damage to the champion.
I thought that got changed like 3 months ago. Guess not though. Trashy, oh dear lord. Hooked from Fog of War goes down, and Coast suddenly have control over Dragon. No matter what enemy tried to do, it's not going to happen now. And this Dragon's going to get itself completely dead. MASH will get his team the turret damage buff, which just might matter. The little chunks of damage that Chris and Pekinwolf can get in will add up. Actually means much more in teams where you get very rare turret damage in, instead of like, oh, we chunk them out and we just like kill the turret regardless. You get little chips.
Yeah, true. Especially the secondary turrets, which are very difficult to take down in one go. All right, targeting here on Pekinwolf.
Drop wants in, can't find it. Pekinwolf fast enough with boots too. And Moby Alistair not quick enough.
Yeah, Pekinwolf actually much more defensive. You know, talking about that video we had of him describing him in Inox, where Inox went for the Luden's first item for Victor, looking for that burst. A much more aggressive player, looking for the early kills. Pekinwolf a lot safer, more defensive build. Uh-oh, Otter's going to be able to dodge the slow. He's looking for this.
Chris ghosts. 3, 2, 1. The stun's going to come around. They hit it. But there's not enough damage anymore. Ghost built enough space. He's going to be fine. That is still 2 important spells burned.
That's everything for Olaf. His Ghost and his ultimate. It's very difficult for him to fight without that.
But we're the 13 gold lead. Coast have actually grown a bunch of gold just via the single kill and the farm they're growing for themselves.
They abandon bottom lane here and decide to press instead. I think NME are going to close in and take that turret then. Coast are just going to give it up to them and try and run up the mid lane. Nice ward there by Flares on Baron just to check that while everybody was bottom. It was actually enough for them to just pull off of the bottom lane because everybody from Coast moved up towards the Baron area, and Flares did not have his Trinket Ward available. So it was just hovering around the around the Baron pit wall, and just the threat of Coast going for that Baron in Fog of War pulls them off of the bottom lane turret, so they actually don't get anything out of it.
Yeah, true. No major objectives really gained here. We still sit at 2,000 gold.
Upgrade those trinkets. It's worth.
Yep. Absolutely massive. Body drop is level 9. Conquan the same. Both junglers, of course, could easily do so themselves. 3 pink wards in the inventory of Team Coast. Enemy none to speak of. Coast have lost their deep vision. Enemy have really good wards around the bottom side here. As Inox keeps pressuring the mid lane. Peekenwolf losing a lot of health, actually. But not getting pressured enough to stop him from wave clearing. Mid lane will not take any meaningful damage. Bot lane really not getting hit either.
Yeah. Conquan and Shrimp trying to keep this Baron pit clear.
Shrimp now 1,000 gold ahead of Trashy. Getting more and more money throughout this game. Top winner up 80.
Ooh. Coast are looking to fight soon. They've got the Elixir of Wrath on Mash and the double item power spike here for Callista. Maximum lifesteal.
Yeah.
With the Runons as well.
Alright, let's see if anything happens. Ooh! Smite from Shrimp stops Otter's recall. He's gonna find Flares as well. Will not find the knockup to stop him. Would not be worth trading Flash for Flash, so. Flares stays safe on this one. Conquan and Mash, though, trying to take over the jungle, and they could set up a Baron if all goes well.
Splashing people in the face.
Yep. Splish Splash. Shrimp coming up in the top lane. Going to take away these Krugs, and top lane tier 2 could be attacked soon. Those have not found a turret in a very long time.
Yeah, I'm really not going back to the split push here for Coast.
I think they have too far to go right now. The thing is, Vayne is very threatening to both Olaf and Rek'Sai. I think that's part of the reason they picked Vayne in this matchup, is they knew there'd be that extra split pusher Rek'Sai around.
Well, no split push means all... Oh, he caught him!
No taunt gonna happen. All is well for the Coast lineup. Flares out of energy as well. All he can do is wave clear a little bit, but there's a knockup come in for body drop. They really want to knock down this Rek'Sai, but a Lantern keeps all well. Flash was used.
But all nullified there by the Lantern. And yeah. Chris was able to get down to bottom lane and start the wave, pushing in Coast's favor as well during that. So not only did they lose out on a huge flash, Alistar, a very important flash to have for that team fight, but they also have to answer with the teleport because Chris was able to get bottom lane moving.
Yeah. Not long ago, it was Vayne in that lane. Now she's
Chris is also coming down mid lane from behind the rest of NME.
There's no
They do have double summoners on both of their carries, though.
He's going to cut the wave off. Chris is totally safe here now. Runs right up to the top side of the map, and of course there's a turret in his sights up there, so someone's got to get up there to defend him. Flares will slowly acquire farm in the bottom side, down 90 minions down here, but at least getting some money. Shrimp will stop him. No, he won't. Can't get the Q across because of the Grump. And Otter just getting what minions he can. Wet Static Shiv will help with the wave clear a little bit.
Yeah, and he could actually start pulling off some split pushing of his own.
Yeah.
Chris is waiting in that brush, though. Got to be a little bit careful. Chris does not have any true sight on him, though.
And despite all the money that Shrimp is taking in this game, you can see his CS quite high. He's 1,500 now above Trashy. None of the other lanes are losing advantages here.
Chris wants this. Flares is at his back.
And nothing to find. The Shrimp is still growing in power, and now the Baron attempt will come through. Olaf does have teleport.
Wolf down.
Oh, wow, yeah. The two big carries are on the other side of the map, so Shrimp can look for a steal. but Trashy's in range. Body drop has to headbutt him out. They've got the blue trinket reveal.
They can burn it.
Can they get it in time? There's the headbutt. They're going to stop him. The pulverize as well. Red team is slain Baron Nashor, and Chris goes down. The big play comes across. Flares will stay alive, but a big burst comes out, and Pekin Wolf kills off Trashy. The hook onto Otter. Otter's the next one to die. A double kill for Pekin Wolf, and Body Drop has nowhere to go either. 3 kills picked up for 1, despite the Baron.
Coast should run straight down mid lane now and try and grab that turret off of it as well. Yes, enemy were able to get it, but only 2 Baron buffs survive. Will this Varus spam be enough to hold turret? He's getting Baron buff up the minions as well, but
A lot of damage from
he has to land another one.
Well, now they got to be careful because you can still make the play. These guys are all injured and out of mana. Nash will lifesteal, but Pekin Wolf is not a combatant right now, which means Dragon is up and contestable by enemy.
Enemies save the turret. They make the Desperation Baron work out. They saw Mash Me and Pekin Wolf both down bottom. Body drop headbutts during the move there from Shrimp. So there's no possibility of a steal. And it also meant that Chris was 1 versus 4 after Baron died. Easily able to focus him down. That hook right there turns it though as Conquan finds Otter.
And enemy looking for the re-engage with the taunt forward, the flash forward by Otter as well, and they couldn't find a single target.
Yep.
Great turnaround. Now that gave blue buff over to Inox, although actually he's not holding it, so I don't know where it went. But blue was up at the time, and they did get Dragon. So enemy staunching the bleeding for now. That was not Victor. I guess Victor got it a while ago. Maybe blue wasn't up and I'm just crazy. So we're looking at the engage. Chris in the backside. Who's he going to find? A headbutt's going to get stopped by the ulti. Trash getting hit up, but they find Mash. That's going to be a dead Callista, but Inox gets found out, runs away and stays alive. Now Otter is back around. Shrimp going to take a ton of damage, and that's a 2 for 0. Good kiting by Inox.
Also, they have a Baron buff, so they can push after this. Inox is going to have to go back to base.
They've got Body Drop waiting in the wings. A ward.
He has ultimate. Alistar ultimate is available. Pekin Wolf is a prime target.
Inox is already recalled. He's running back down the mid lane. 20 seconds on the respawns. Vayne can push.
Yep.
Body Drop still watching the rotations.
She doesn't have Baron buff of her own, but she can get the wave pushing on bottom.
Quick reveal. They know only Olaf is defending this.
Chris also used his ultimate on Olaf, so he wouldn't be able to get out of it for free.
That's going to be 2 turrets, I think, picked up. Bot lane will go down. Otter is uncontested. Mid lane tier 2 went down as well. And enemy Esports bring it back within 500 gold. Their Baron ends in 30 seconds, but they've managed to tie the game up. Just like in game 2, they came back from a big deficit.
Trying to make their stand here. They do not want to give up their spot without a fight. And they're making a good case for it.
Let's see if they can make it happen still. Otter 2-1-1. Hook is going to land! He does not follow through. Victor was not in range for any of the burst. They don't go for the chase down. Mid lane back under fire. Rek'Sai on the side. Body Drop will play bodyguard. And he's going to get hooked right into range. He's got to pop the ult. He's going to go for the pulverized flash. And he can't get Pekin if he cleanse flashes away and stays alive. Conquan ulted back by the Callista, and all is well. A 1 for 0.
It does stop the siege, but it's only 1 kill unless Shrimp can finish this.
He's going to get some damage on a Trashy, but does not have any slows in the kit, so it's not going to be any meaningful damage. Otter safe as well. Enemy limping in and limping out of fights, honestly. These guys do not look all that coordinated.
Well, they needed to go back and spend some of that gold. They just earned a lot of gold with that big swing.
You're looking at 1,500 per person on average.
Once they can turn that into combat stats, they'll stand a better chance. Inox has been huge for them. Mash tried to find him in the back line and 1 versus 1, but the solo lane AD carry comes out on top.
Shrimp needs to make farm though. He's getting closer and closer to doubling Trashy's farm in this game. Gold disparity still at about 1,500 between the two of them. But at a certain point, that Rek'Sai unlocks and he gets enough damage, or she gets enough damage, to actually 1v1 the Varus in the back line. As long as these guys can deal with Otter, then all is well.
Summoner was blown in that last fight. Even though Inox came out ahead, he had to blow his flash. Has to be very careful now.
AD carries, supports mid lane is roughly equal. It's the top 2 spots that have Coast gold lead right now. Those are the 2 to watch for. And it's the 2 teleporters. Otter getting a ton of the farm right now. He's now being donated a lot of the gold. It's Varus who gets the scrap farm. Otter's the primary focus here. FLICKR's still very far behind.
Yep.
Shrimp actually has more CS than him.
He does have the global advantage right now, though, for pressure. So NME would like to spread out the map by splitting up and then utilize Shen to teleport in and get a numbers advantage. Chris still waiting on his teleport to come up.
Another minute away.
It looks like they're sending FLICKR's bottom, though, to match up against Shrimp instead, who, to be fair, doesn't have tunnels very close to any lanes that would be pushed up on the other side of the map, so it would still take him a while to get there, but...
The Rek'Sai split begins. Randuin's Omen, next item for him. Double AD carry. I mean, keep in mind, armor stacking is very effective here. We get to the point where you can start specializing your defensive builds. Frozen Heart already done for Chris. Double Randuin's coming for the two frontliners as well.
Yeah, I mean, it's semi-effective. Both Last Whispers are already completed, and it's Vayne as one of them,
yeah.
So...
But it's always still a little bit tough. We'll at least cut some of it. Vayne's actually roughly 70% physical. All said and done. That's how the math works out. Coast keeping a core 3 together. Shrimp occasionally rejoins the team. FLICKR's just getting what farm together he can. Piecing together pieces of items. He's got a Giant's Belt, then a Spirit Visage components.
Yeah, the way this is going, it looks like they're just going to wait for the next dragon to pop up. I mean, they can control vision around Baron, and they do have Callista, so they could try and force it here, but definitely... Well, I guess since it's split 2-on-2 on dragons, they're just going to try and take the Baron as quickly as possible. Pekin Wolf here, looking to burst someone who face checks. At the very least, he would want to try and pop Alistar ultimate. He doesn't have summoners, though. Only cleanse. He's got to be careful.
That's a nice hook. A bit of damage. Body drop down to 1,800.
He holds his ally ultimate, though. Very smart.
Baron does not get aggroed. Coaster's safe, but they are controlling the vision. The pink ward allows an easy pickup for Mash.
Chris, they can actually just have Chris solo the dragon. He does have an Elixir of Wrath on him already, so he can sustain himself very easily, and he just saw FLICKR's recall, so if he shoves one wave, he can actually just go over and grab that objective. Feel pretty comfortable about it, while the rest of the team threatens Baron, so NME can't send many people to try and stop him.
Pink ward back down. NME going to control the vision. They've now swept everything away. Scuttle Crab will despawn in 3, 2, 1. Vision gone. There's a solo from Chris, as you mentioned. He will try to take this dragon, and no one is here to contest this. That will be the movement speed buff for Coast. They sit up 2,500 gold, and now an extra level of the dragon buff.
Yeah. In exchange for that, for the time being, Coast do give up vision inside of the pit.
For no major gain. Here comes the play. They realize, oh, Olaf was bot lane. Let's go. Summoner
this is very dangerous still.
Ulti hits, but Shrimp has a lantern. Gets headbutt pulverized, and there's the condemn, and Shrimp will die despite the flash. That's a 1 for 0. Now, how good is the damage? Zeke's Harbinger done on body drop. Otter will have plenty of damage in this team fight, but how good is the Victor poke? Chris is around. There is no smite for Coast. So how good's the front line? Conquan forced to ult away. In comes Chris. He really wants him, but he's not going to have the damage. Otter will chase. 2 more hits will kill, but it won't be enough. Body drop now takes major damage, and there's the kill from Pika with Cleanse to get away from the condemned. Trashy finds the hit, and they get another kill. It's a 2 for 1, but Baron is regened right back up.
But Chris is chucked out so low, he can't even stick around here, so it's only Pekin Wolf they have to worry about, and they're going to focus down Baron. Chris is still here!
Forced to Zonia's, the lantern's there, but Trashy will miss the cocoon, and the flash gets away, but there's the pickup for Chris! Otter has to chase, but takes an axe to the face, and Shrimp rejoins. Condemned backwards, how good's the damage? Conquan has to flash away, he's going to stay alive, and he lands the hook. Otter's in a bad way, gets knocked around by Shrimp, but FLICKR is back in the action. Chris gets another kill, taking down Trashy. It's a 2 for 3, this time in favor of Coast.
Oh, NME were all drawn off of Baron, and Inox got left alone, getting hit by both Baron and Chris. He couldn't burst him down, and they lost their threat. Oh, Baron lives to see another day.
Mistimed CC. You can actually layer Cocoon or Taunt over the Zonia's ending and prevent the flash. Both of those missed. And got out.
So he lands the hook, but he got hit with the arrow at the exact same time, so they had to back him out. Chris does burn the flash and Shen ultimate on top side, But look at Alistar ultimate. He was able to tank almost as long as the solo lane at Olaf here. There's a flash play from Trashy. Trashy able to hit the cocoon and set it up for him. Then we, as we know, the re-engage here. They all go to Peek and Wolf. And as you said, they missed both CCs, plus they left Inox by himself in order to do that.
Yeah, rough. Because they could have focused down Chris. That guy was low, but he kited it out so well. Otter takes away the scuttle. Nicely done. And the thing is, Olaf axes give boost speed by hitting a champion, just doing physical damage at all. So you slow someone and gain MS, and he gets the heck out of these fights. And his armor stack is really big. Olaf sitting on 338 armor. Gonna try again. A lot of damage comes through. This was a very fast dying Baron. Can they get the secure? Shrimp gonna get knocked around a little bit. He's gonna go, and he will not. Oh no!
Whoa, Chris
hits it with the axe into the front line, getting away with the lantern. A big knockup for body drop. The Victor damage resumes though. It's still a battle coming in with the Baron buff on Mash. Does what damage he can, but now forced to run away. 2 kills picked up in favor of Coast, and a Baron in the get out.
They stole it, and they finished off the front line. Shrimp trying to stop back so they can shove up, get the turret without anybody there either.
That
what
undertow.
A play. Chris is able to charge in, not only take out the Baron, but grab 2 kills for the team as well.
That throw might have just secured Coast a spot in the LCS. That Baron could have been a comeback move for NME Esports, but now with Baron on 4, there's so much push pressure for Coast. Yeah, 330 damage in Reckless Swing.
Just barely, yeah, 330 damage on Reckless Swing. Let's see if it's actually an axe or Reckless Swing that gets it. Because he uses Reckless Swing to harass first, so it's the axe that goes
early
through
smite.
him.
Early smite, and the axe goes through and takes it. A misplay by Trashy.
Heartbreaking for NME, as a lot of their hopes resting on this comeback game were in that Baron.
Yeah, it should have been theirs.
They're already down games in the series. That they have to keep spirits up. They're still in the game.
These guys navigated a comeback in game 2. They navigated a comeback in game 3. Just do it again in the same game. 7,000 gold, of course, is a fair bit. And they've got the minion wave coming across. So a couple more turrets will fall, increasing this lead. But anything is possible. Varus has the wave clear, and this Vayne is 3-1 and 4.
Yeah, Chris on the top side, though, just going to murder that turret by himself. Players, as you said, can taunt him by the turret, but I think that Chris would almost be okay with even taking a taunt and taking that damage.
At this point, he's fine.
And then just going up to the turret through the cooldown. Deal damage to it.
No, he hasn't built any MR, so Shen's actual damage does exist, but bottom lane tier 2 goes down. 6 turrets for Coast here. 9,000 gold up. This game means the LCS for this squad. A trip back in for Chris, for Mash. First time as a starter for Conquan. Shrimp and Peekaboo, their first time in the LCS.
Well, they're trying to close the loop here. 1-3-1 again. They do have Shrimp in mid lane trying to pressure. Baron buff still on, but they're going to let off the gas. They want to go purchase with the last round of gold that they got. Grab up Dragon number 4. Return to finish the hard parts, cracking through inhibitor turrets.
Shrimp now up to 14,000 gold. He's a huge menace. Randuin's Omen, Thornmail, and Black Cleaver done for both of those frontline bruisers. Those guys will not be dying fast now. 2 threats, and one of them is very poke-based. There's no attack speed on Inox. He's building towards his either Scimitar or Infinity Edge last item.
Yeah.
But Vayne can't do all the heavy lifting here.
Yeah.
He's only got 3 items.
And unlike the Kog'Maw that we saw earlier, AP Kog'Maw, who scales to infinity almost.
Yeah.
Makes it a lot. Varus definitely doesn't have the end game Kog does.
I'm honestly a bit surprised to see Varus instead of Kog'Maw. Just that a diversification of damage would have helped them I think immensely in dealing with some of these champions. Nox trying to carry his weight, 3, 1, and 6. Certainly still a very good player, nearly hard carried game 2. But Chris has absolutely destroyed Flares all 3 games. You don't see leads this big. Well, really. I mean, we have obviously right here, but that is a rare situation for people not named Chris in the Challenger Series. He's doing it now to an LCS top laner.
Yeah, top lane focus really has been the key strategy for Team Coast.
You can see last item Aegis for Shrimp, just to add that cursory MR. There are Sunfire capes in an Elise, you know, it's a bit useful. Righteous Glory being scouted for body drop, he wants in. Meanwhile, Conquan has his own Frozen Heart. That Thresh is sitting on 2,000 health and 170 armor.
I almost feel like Coast are just going to wait it out for the next Baron to pop up and try and just lay down the vision. Because, honestly, even though all their tanks are building a whole bunch of armor and are extremely beefy, if they win this game, they get into the LCS and they don't want to take the risk.
Yeah, there's really no downside anyway. There's no big plays enemy can make waiting around. Oh, they're going to try here. Shrimp going to take some damage for sure. Silver Bolts do matter. Down to 1,500, but Otter can't do enough damage fast enough. There's the jump into the tunnel. One more shot! He's going to flash for it. Yes, he is! Not a crit, though. Silver Bolt's timed out.
Just timed out.
And a turret goes down. Shrimp gets away. He can recall. He can ult right back in and join the fight much faster than Vayne can. And the bottom inhibitor turret is gone.
Oh, he did not want to have to spend summoners for the kill. Silver Bolts times out, and he doesn't get them. Only the flash trade.
Shrimp's back to full health. He's got home guards. He's running back out on the map. Flash trade, but it's better on Vayne than it is on Rek'Sai.
Yeah. He really wanted to save his flash for the next team fight because he's so much of the team's damage. It just timed out.
Wow. The flash actually bought him enough time.
Yeah, the travel time.
Yeah,
of the auto.
Quite relevant. Next patch, Vayne's missile speed buff by 300.
I don't think we need any Vayne buff streak. Calm
nope.
down.
I'm kidding.
She's in a great spot.
She is.
All right, well, return to split pushing. It's Chris's time to take up the mantle now. Shrimp, without his flash, might be a little more cautious. Shut down mid here for NME. They're going to force a reaction. Chris will get the inhibitor turret, though, or the inhibitor itself if he's left unattended.
Flares takes the damage from the turret, but he's tanky enough to not really care too much. The inhibitor turret itself is nearly going to go down.
They don't get it. Their tank is chunked out, and
Olaf's still pushing.
The inhibitor.
He's still pushing. He's got a wave. He can end the game. Now Coast have to stop the gates. The summoner TP used by Flares, he will buy enough time, but now you got to be careful because teleport is up for Chris and he could flank. He could force Stand United.
He's looking to do it. Inox is in the back, does have double summoners up. Otter's the only one down flash.
Chris coming around the side. He's nearly there, revealed by a ward. Now enemy are aware. This could be the fight that gets Coast into the LCS.
They don't have to. They don't have to force this Baron either. They've got a bottom inhibitor down. Chris is in the bottom lane, trying to force Flares off. Once again, enemy trying to strike back. They force down middle to make Coast react.
Oh, careful Otter. 3 guys on the defense. Some more poke. Conquan at half HP.
Ooh, body
drop taking free damage. Pops the ulti. That means they can kill the turret.
But now he can't fight. It's going to wear off, and they have to get out of there now.
That hook was close. They almost go in. They force the flash out of Alistar as well. Ulti and flash.
Chris
off
does
body
have
drop.
teleport. He does have home guards as well.
Alistar's no longer a tank. Chris will play wave clear. The bottom lane inhibitor will respawn in about 3 minutes. A long time to go. The intention in this game is making Coast play pretty defensively, pretty slowly.
They're going to go back to their tried and true 5 dragons.
It's up in 35. There will not be an Alistar ulti up in time for that. It'll be 10 seconds late. Stand United is up, but so is Chris's teleport. Rek'Sai pops in. Shrimp is now at full build. He's got nothing else to buy. He can woof. also there. Taunt by Flares.
Got a decent amount of damage down from the trade.
Of course, this is pre-rework Thornmail, so it's not like the Thornmail does much from Chris, but here's the Baron attempt with Dragon up right now, and enemy on the wrong side of the map for most of them. The hook on a body drop buys some time. He's going to be careful about this one. Has no ult, goes down to Peek and Woof. Trashy's got to run, but Shrimp's going to find a knockup. He's got to repel away, and they find Shrimp for some damage. Repelled into the wall, and he's going to be going down. It's a trade of kills, but Olaf's at the bottom.
Yep. Chris is still split pushing her. That's why they had to give up Shrimp's life.
That's going to be at least one turret.
Flares was going to come down.
It's going to be at least one turret. Mash takes poke, but doesn't care.
I don't know.
He's actually killing it fairly slow.
He wasn't even on it. He was clearing minions. He does get a single one.
There it is.
He's going to have to use his ult to get out of here, if he even gets out alive.
There are no reinforcements. He can ult TP and be fine.
You get
He's trying to find the target.
He's trying to find the Nexus. All right, there's the ultimate teleport.
Oh, they got him! They got
down.
him just in time, but it buys a lot of time for the rest of the map. All the minion waves are dead because of how that push went. It gave Dragon 5 over, but it's 40 seconds of power play.
The
2 tanks are dead. The 2 tanks, I think he couldn't find a turret to TP to or something.
There was definitely a misclick there, some hesitation from Chris.
Okay, Death
and they're
Rush
sitting on a ward!
On a ward. Enemy could make the play. They can't let on that they know.
How well can they act?
Can they make it happen? Here's the play, ulti in! This could be the comeback play for enemy, but an ulti pop keeps Thresh safe.
Great disengage. They leave Thresh behind to take the hit.
Shrimp can ult in 10 seconds. It'll be a 4 versus 4. Vita Drop respawns just now, but he can't get across the map in time.
Dragon 5 still up on
the attempt. Trashy losing a lot of health. There is still no smite. Shrimp respawns. He pops the ulti. They cannot give this away. Baron Nash are picked up. Vita Drop ults to stay alive. Flares takes a lot of damage. These guys have to run. Ryleys is such a big slow.
They don't have a front line, though. Shrimp trying to move in, and they've made the escape.
A recall from Shen. He still has no globals up, but teleports up in 5 seconds.
This Baron empowered recall is going to be really big for enemy. They need to get Trashy back to base and back to full mana as quickly as possible. Now they can hold on with the Baron buff.
Stur's losing a lot of health. It actually could go down to the minion line. Otter can't
do it. He
quite
needs to
kill it. Oh, he gets it alive. It's gonna regen. He sold Shiv for Phantom Dancer. The highest build. This is the highest damage build he can really go for while keeping a Banshee though, which I think he needs to not die to Victor.
All right. Enemy still in this, holding on to their LCS spot by their fingernails.
1 minute left on Dragon 5, 2 minutes left on Baron. There will be a 1 minute buff disparity soon for enemy. Bottom inhibitors respawning. You hear the announcer say that right now. So enemy can get the map back on equal footing. This Varus is on full build, but without crit, it's going to make it hard for him to kill off the front line. Vayne will have to do all the heavy lifting. Flare is now going for maybe a Black Cleaver just to shred armor even further. He's got the Phage.
The 131 is doing work for Coast. They're getting minion waves pushed on both sides. Flares can only answer one of the two.
For the flank.
He's in behind. Chris doesn't have teleport though, so he'll have to come from the base.
This is a Baron buff, and Dragon's going to time out very soon. There's the inhib, there's the flay, but Conquan has to be careful. He's going to get locked around a bit, but there's the engage. Trashy forced to repel. Chris low on health, but a lot of damage coming through from Victor. They got him. Body Drop still alive, and Conquan goes down. Flare stays alive. He finally does drop, but it's still a 2-for-1 in favor of enemy. Otter's full health. They got the inhibitor.
Both front lines take a beating here, and they're going to have to back off.
There's 1 minute left of Baron. They can recall and get back into the base before the respawns come through. It's 50 minutes in. There is no Shrimp or Conquan.
They got the inhibitor. They have super minions down mid lane now. They can try and push on the bottom side. There's still one secondary turret up on top side. Otter heading bottom though to try and work with that huge wave that they've got built up. All right, so here's the engage. It's just a little bit late, right after the inhibitor goes down. He gets the double flay, but they're both able to escape, and Shen ultimate onto Otter. They don't even try and target him. Shrimp gets sucked back in with the gravity field, and the front line here from enemy able to barely survive off of Alistar ultimate, only Flares going down.
Yeah, Mash and Chris out there hitting the ulted Alistar and the full tank Shen. And it took him a very long time to get through it all. Respawns up in 7 seconds. Shrimp's up at 8 now, Conquan's alive in a sec. Flares has TP, but it's going to be a little bit later to the party.
Everything rests on this team fight. For enemy, they have to win.
They will not get anything done.
Wave gets
Bot lane
annihilated.
Curiously, they did not go for top lane tier 2. They pushed bot lane in, but that's not the one under threat right now. Getting a small pile of gold doesn't mean a lot for the full build champions, but getting it off the map is nice. Enemy try to sit in a death rush, they will not get through.
Trying to gain vision around Dragon as number 5 again comes up for Coast is very big for Enemy. They've got True Sight in here. They have Alistar in the brush waiting to make a play. Flares that stand united in the top lane.
And Coast switched their builds around. Shrimp sold Sightstone for a tank item. And he's got an upgraded warding totem now, so there's not good ward clearing by Coast anymore. Trashy's still on his Sightstone and Sweeper.
They cannot face check the Elise Alistar team, even with the massive gold lead that they're running.
The thing is, this lead doesn't matter anymore. Flares is almost done with his full build. The 3,000 gold deficit does not matter anymore. Trashy, again, despite the deficit, basically full build. The major carries on both sides also matched.
50 seconds left.
This could be move speed. Oh, they catch up Shrimp. This is some real damage. The flash pulverized. They headbutt him in, and Shrimp gets caught out. The TP in from Chris. He's gonna actually cancel it. Body drop popped the ulti, and that means there's no Chris right now. He's stuck top lane. Righteous Glory does not let them in, though.
They can either take the Dragon off of the field or try and push in the bottom turret during this death.
What about attempting mid?
They've got a full 60 seconds on Shrimp still left.
So they
25 on Dragon. They can push and then retreat to the Dragon. No Alistar ultimate makes me think that they might not be able to even get the turret, though. Flares could be the one to try and tank it instead.
Flares is very durable. He won't take much damage here from this, but Pekin Wolf has great wave clear.
Pekin Wolf do it.
These minions just get removed. Ulti misses from Inox.
They don't want to overextend here, though. They need to get Dragon.
Okay, there's Dragon.
They could maybe get some damage on this turret, but they need to get that Dragon off of the field, deny it from Coast.
And with the map control they have and their double sight stones, they can go back and get Baron control too. That spawns in 2 minutes here. Dragon's a Forsaken pickup. That's 100% going to enemy
That
here.
Baron crab is very important.
And Coast are going to get it first. Now, it will not live during Baron's respawn.
Pash is not heading towards it. He's trying to clear up all the jungle minions. If they ward up on the river, then they can just wait to take the crab. If there's no pressure here, wait for, whatever.
All right, it's going to get, it'll see enemy get warded.
They won't have the speed boost or the shrine for the actual Baron spawn. But up until that moment for all of the Vision Wars, they will have it. You can wait on killing it if you have the wards already and just kill it as soon as you see enemy approach. But yeah, regardless, they will have it for the Vision Wars at least.
So enemy have diversified their tank items. You can see a Spirit Visage, a Banshee's Veil, and a Locket on their 2 farmed tanks here. Whereas you have mostly armor stacking on the side of Coast.
Yeah, I mean,
Alistar popping ulti just tanks all the
It's a full tank Elise. It's just a slow burn damage for magic damage going to come from enemies, so definitely should be mostly armor. Varus has a little bit as well, actually, so.
Ooh, Varus switched out. He sold his Yomus for a Black Cleaver, so he can just help shred armor for the Vayne here. It's kind of slow stack, his attack speed is low. And Chris actually finding some damage onto Flares. This is a bit of a threat here.
Oh, he pops
Flares is down to half HP. Chris ults for attack damage, which is a very curious choice, and Mash gets caught out a bit. They don't find the damage quite enough. He had QSS, didn't pop it, feels safe enough. Baron is now alive. Both these teams have move speed, but Coast has bonus damage to monsters thanks to Dragon 4. They burn this down quick, and they've got Callista.
Ward inside for enemy, though. Can Flares hold on in the top lane?
Well, Chris has got the bot lane.
He's got the inhibitor taken once again. And it's only a single Nexus turret.
Hib's getting hit, though, and enemy are here first. Chris does not have teleport. He cannot join his team.
They're committed
Flares leaves
to the split push. Flares can't leave. He's pinned down.
Trashy stuns Mash, doesn't care.
He's gonna
Chris can take the game by himself. He can ignore the Shen. He's down to half HP, and it's gonna be the re-engage for enemy Esports. It's a base rush, but Chris could win the game right now. He's not taking enough damage, and Chris will single-handedly bring his team into the LCS. Oh my word, it's the 3-0. And Chris has done it.
A way to pull it off. Olaf ult comes back up, and he uses it to burn down the turrets.
What a strange way to end a match. Coaster into the LCS.
NME are not done. They just go back to the challenger circuit.
Yep, they dominated it last split. They're going to be back there again. Coach Youngbuck unfortunately could not bring them the victory, and Coaster kind of shocked it's over. They're kind of not even realizing what just happened here. But it's over. It's the 3-0. Coast into the LCS. NME, the group of friends who, despite many hardships, have stuck it out together. You will see them next year. You will see Coast back on the big stage. Shrimp going to be playing his first professional split. Pekin Wolf the same.
Saint's back. He's back
Saint's
again.
back again. Enemy needs some time to rebuild. Inox, that man on your screen right there, played his heart out.
He did.
Every single game, he was the highest damage to champions in the game. Yes, okay, there was an AP COG game. And yes, there was a Poke Varus game. But he tried so hard to carry his team. He had some great performances. 6-1-8 on a losing game. And we were even winning in kills in this one.
Definitely hold his head high.
Yeah.
After that one.
Well, it's going to be a long offseason now for NME as they prepare themselves for the Challenger circuit next time around. Coast have had a couple of interesting games. They can clearly rely on Shrimp. He does a great job getting his team ahead.
Yeah.
They can clearly rely on Chris. He's had a hard time making it work in the LCS. He's been crushing it in Challenger. He's been crushing it in Promo Tournament. But it was always hard for Chris to actually keep that same level of play up when it got to the actual professional matches.
Yeah.
I don't know if this is going to be the year for him, but
they can at least look forward to trying to get some revenge on Renegades in the LCS.
That's true. They're going to be rejoining.
See if they can take games off them on this stage once again.
Yep. So we saw over in Europe that Gamers2 dethroned SK. Now we see over here that Coast have dethroned NME Esports. Of course, we do have another match after this one. It was a 3-0 here. We've got another best of 5 coming up afterwards as Team 8 takes on Imagine. That will also be a fun one. And if we saw how dominating the Challenger team was, this might be a closer match than maybe we had expected.
Yeah, Cali Troll's last ride in the LCS is going to go back to pharmacy school, regardless of outcome, victory or not.
Yeah. He's going to hope to leave his team up in the professional scene, but you never know. There's a lot of really good upstarts on the Imagine squad as well. I mean, certainly Coast have put together a very good lineup for themselves. Shrimp coming over from Korea, from my understanding, speaks very little English, and it's actually a bit difficult for them to coordinate with him in-game. Kwan playing the role of live translator sometimes, which, of course, is also pretty hard to do while you're in the middle of a game. But, I mean, Kwan had a bunch of great games. You saw that once the Thresh ban dropped, his Thresh was actually amazing.
Yeah,
had a lot of great plays.
Playmaking ability on him was great. Both the Alistar and the Thresh games he was able to initiate for the team on top of the shot calling that he was doing. I believe we do have a replay I want to look at again.
Yeah, we're going to look at the game-ending play right here. Just like watch Chris understanding that he can just simply solo the entire base at this point. FLICKR's building full tank. It's a Phage and a Sunfire Cape. There's only damage, and Chris just simply... Right, perfectly timed ult, does not get taunted, so he does not pull aggro and takes no damage.
Look at the mini-map, too. Enemy trying to get somebody pulled off, but Shrimp engages there,
now.
and nobody was able to get their recall off. Otter had tried to start it, but when Shrimp re-engaged them, he canceled and tried to grab the kill.
And the funny thing is, the closer that he gets to killing off Olaf, the more damage he deals, and the faster he kills off the Nexus. Gets up to double attack speed.
Slow burn is not the way to go.
No.
But he had no options.
Didn't get rid of him. And so Chris, I mean, in Game 1, his Gangplank was crazy. Highest CS, highest gold, nearly out-damaged an AP Kog'Maw somehow, and destroyed the game. Game 2 got Camp 4 and just rolled over everybody for a while. Game 3 did pretty much the same thing and solo killed the entire base. So big props to Chris, big props to Coast, but for now we're going to send it over to our analyst desk for a word with a couple of the notorious Team Coast members.
Thank you, Freak. I am joined by Coast, Pekin Wolf, and Mash. And gentlemen, a 3-0 series to get yourselves into the LCS. Pekin, I got to come to you first, as this is your first qualification for the LCS. How does it feel?
It feels great. I mean, I wasn't doing much 4 months ago, and then now I'm here. So it's just surreal, just going from nothing to here.
Yeah, talk to me a little bit about that process. You know, the Challenger Series, as someone who has, you know, come through it from the beginning to end in qualifying for the LCS. You say you weren't doing much 4 months ago. What was kind of the impetus to get into this and realize that dream of being an LCS player?
Well, before me, they had a different mid laner, and they picked me up. I actually was inside the Challenger Series before with AKA that won against Renegades, and we lost first round. And then after that, I was just going to wait till the next split. Maybe I'll get picked up by another team. I've never been on a really good team before. This is the first team that actually did really consistently well, and now that I'm here, and I felt we were probably going to make LCS no matter what, considering how good we did inside the Challenger Series too. So.
And part of that consistency and stellar play comes from you as well, Mash, a more storied career in the LCS, both in and out. You've been through the Challenger Series multiple times. You know, for you, what is different about this Coast roster, this lineup, this time around, than any of the other previous teams you've been on?
For this team, it's like our team synergizes really well. And this time around, I'm actually doing the leadership role as shot calling. And it's actually really hard for an AD carry, but I'm getting used to it. Instead of like worrying about like my own play, I have to worry about like everything, what the team's doing, and controlling what's happening on the map. Well,
by your side, you have Saint Vicious now as the coach, who is another, you know, big veteran. He's been through the Challenger Series as well. He played through the LCS, been on many teams, had, you know, different degrees of success. What has having him on the team helped you with in terms of fulfilling that leadership role?
When we're doing scrims and he's coaching, he's like telling me like what to call, giving me like small reminders, and he tells me that I have to do it myself later on in the game, which I did. He's like, I can't be calling for this for you, so you gotta do it later on, and I think we did okay.
Yeah, well, the 3-0 would speak to you doing all right. Now, Pekin Wolf, when playing in the Challenger Finals against RNG, it was a much tougher series. Went 5 games. You guys definitely had some ups and downs. We even had a video feature earlier in the day where you spoke a little bit about the fact that maybe you were a little overconfident and made some missteps in that series. What did you guys work on specifically between that series and here that you were able to come out in such more dominant fashion against an LCS team?
I think we were a lot more prepared inside pick ban, definitely. We were able to ban out things that would really pressure me, just like inside the Renegade game, I was really pressured by certain picks, and they would camp me mid a lot and send their support up. And this game, when they did come up, I had someone who was able to get away with the Azir, and I was able to live and just farm out the lane, and that's ultimately what made the game probably a lot easier since I wasn't so pressured by other people.
Now, recognizing some weaknesses and fixing them there, you've now got about 4 months ahead of you until the LCS spring split. So a lot of time now to continue to work as a team. Mash, can you give me any insight as to what the plan is for Coast moving into the spring split?
I think we're all going to take, obviously, probably 1 or 2 month break. Play some other video games, you know, enjoy time with family. But once we're back, we're probably going to be scrimming a lot. And I think during the downtime as well, play some little bit of League, prevent decay on your Challenger accounts, etc.
All right. And Pekin, we have another series today ahead of us still. We've got Teammate versus Imagine. Thoughts on that? Are we going to see a third Challenger team qualify for the LCS?
I think it's actually going to be a really even series between those two.
All right. What do you think that matchup is going to hinge on specifically? Is there a specific lane, certain players that you're looking at that can really, you know, turn the tides?
I feel like the biggest difference is probably the bot lane and having Steelback. I think Steelback's one of IMG's strongest members, and if he goes off, he can carry a game.
Mash, thoughts as well on that matchup?
I totally agree with that. Steelback's actually really good. I think he'll probably play better on LAN.
Okay.
And it also depends on Cali Trolls as well. He's kind of looking a little off, but I think it'll be a really close series, probably like 3-2 or something, both ways.
All right, well, hopefully it is an exciting one. Gentlemen, congratulations on your 3-0 dominant win there over NME and qualifying for the LCS. I look forward to casting your games in the spring. Now for some final thoughts on that series, we're going to send it back to the caster desk.
Thank you very much, Dash. Great interview in the day so far. Kobe, that was honestly not how I expected the series to go. So the individual players, I saw, right? I really expected a great game, especially matchup-wise for Chris. That happened. I expected good things out of Shrimp. His Elise in Game 2 especially was freaking scary. And Inox was a great mid laner. Inox did so much work for NME Esports, but, I mean, so much broke apart Coast with big leads almost every single time.
Yeah. It really was a battle of those two, the relegation kings, I guess.
Yeah.
Chris and Inox. And, you know, it's kind of fitting, I guess, that Chris got to destroy the last Nexus himself to get back in once again.
Yeah.
The only problem, as he's talked about, he hasn't found the success once he's into the LCS. He's got a new team, new coaching staff. They need to change that story.
Yeah, well, we'll see if they can change that story here. Now, guys, we want to talk about our player of the series, and that is going to be Chris, that Coast top laner. I mean, who else was it going to be? Gangplank in Game 1, the double Olafs. And he was empowered to make so many plays for the team. The Baron steal, I think, actually salvaged this mid-game for Coast.
Oh, man, that was huge for them.
Yeah.
Not only the actual Baron, but also just the morale hit that enemy took after that steal. And a huge boost for his team. This guy definitely deserves the most valuable player of the series.
He absolutely does. This is a player who's actually been allowed to make really good split push plays as well. We've seen games in Challenger where, you know, he will be able to set up tower dives like 25 minutes in to 1v1 the enemy top laner or bring the jungler in 2v1 it and keep that push going. He's got a big champion pool of very strong top laners to take over games. We'll see if he can do that in the LCS. He's a player I'm excited to watch because I think he has a very fun style. It's just a matter of him keeping that level of play up against
And he can get his jungler to camp his lane really hard.
Yeah, and Shrimp is very good at producing tents here. Now, guys, there is still one spot left to be decided. When we return, Team Imaginable face off against Team 8. The spring promotion tournament continues in just 3.5 minutes. Stick with us. Conk 1.5, the taunt comes in, a lot of damage, but of course he's got a Kalista support, so he's going to be safe. Flares goes down for nothing, but a big burst comes out, and Pekin Wolf kills off Trashy. The hook onto Otter. Otter's the next one to die, a double kill for Pekin Wolf.
I'm coming. 2 seconds.
Mash. Nice.
Can they get the secure? Shrimp going to get knocked around a little bit. He's going to go, and he will not. Oh!
Nice.
Allie, I vote for you.
It's a base rush, but Chris could win the game right now.